purest essence of what makes a business tick is sometimes fleeting. It's not always available to draw on demand. So if you can capture these things on video, you're capturing magic in a bottle. My name is Tyson, and I own New Line Media. I really believe that the keystone to any successful business is the connection that business builds with the people that it serves. Traditionally, these attributes were all achieved through interpersonal communication. It came through authentic connection. Then the arena of the internet introduced a whole range of resources that expanded what businesses were capable of achieving. But the trade-off for these new resources was that authentic connection with the people that we serve. And without that connection factor, businesses become commodities, just a name and a price tag. So the dilemma businesses face today is how to preserve that sense of connection in a digital space. And I believe that the answer to that problem is video. At New Line Media, my goal is to help you take your influence, your passion, your spirit, your essence, and make it available to anyone, at any time, no matter where they are. When the power of video is truly harnessed, it can become so much more than just a flashy way to promote yourself. Video can help your business build trust in those you serve or want to serve. It can build familiarity. It provides information and education, and most of all, it can pull your customer into your space for a few moments and give them a taste of what working with you would be like. It provides them with that in-house connection experience, no matter where they are. And that is what I focus on, because it's all about making a connection. So if you're a business owner who's ready to shift gears and unbind yourself using video as the business asset that it should be, then go to my site and submit a request to work with me. If I think I'm going to be the best fit for you, then I will reach out and we will schedule a time to meet.
Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin' Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
Well,
welcome.
Yeah, if Brian would show up on time, we'd be able to start.
Yeah, Tyler slides in here at 1:59.
Yeah, I had to slow down for a police officer, so I didn't get pulled over. But anyway.
Well, good to be here talking some business. So welcome to the show. And last week, man,
Rod
and
Furness,
we didn't even get it. We found out a lot more about that guy after the show was over. He's got his hands in some other business opportunities down in the Pocatello area.
Yeah, they're doing cool stuff. He's doing cool stuff down there with some
development.
Yep.
Man, the guy, and I just got to say, I have to say, extremely impressed. Yeah, I'm glad that he's representing this. See, that's the kind of guys that I just know that we can trust in the state legislature.
Because when you're doing well like that, there's no significant upside financially for sure.
Definitely.
And then when you factor in the time that it takes to put into that people like Rod and the men and women that are over there doing it, they serve. That's what they do.
Outstanding individual of Rod Furness, and we appreciate him being on the show. District 31 representing well, and man, the guy's he's got it going on with his business, plus his representation in the legislature. So very good. We let's thank our sponsors. We couldn't do this show without the SBDC. You saw that ad that we just played for New Line Media. That gives you a good example of what Tyson can do with New Line Media.
Yep.
Drone work. What else?
Yep.
What else does he do?
So drone work. He does the film work. He'll travel to Greece if you want to take him along. That's there was some cool footage of that. I mean, he's just anything really branding video wise. He's worth having these live streams.
Yep.
He's helped me on another project before and did a great job. So
absolutely great. Vulpine Marketing keeps us up to date on our website each and every week. Just happens automatically. We don't even have to do anything, and all of our shows are uploaded. America's SBDC. What is it?
That is the best kept secret. That is, they are, if you are needing some consulting or anything of that nature, classes, coursework, the SBDC has something for you, and it's worth talking to.
We help businesses from cradle to grave. So I actually spend most of my time, coaching people on businesses, how to get in business, but really my passion is how to stay in business and grow the business. And that's something great that the SBDC does. And at the Idaho Innovation Center, hey, we've got a couple offices open. So it's not very often that we do. So if your business is needing a place to call home and you can live up to the expectations that we have at the Innovation Center, come down and check us out. We'd love to have you there. So, and of course, BBSI.
Boy, they just do it all. If you need HR, you need payroll, you need consulting, and I mean the list goes on.
Let's just talk about a legend that's leaving there this week. Mike's
gonna go work with his wife
she's gonna be a future guest here at what is that store?
Love at First Bite.
Love at First Bite.
I love they have a lot of great cookies and brownies type stuff, fudge, all that. But then they have that vinegar and oils from all over the world that
they can't get much more in that store. They did expand, and they've got a lot of great stuff there. But he's retiring this week. We're going to be going to a party to celebrate Michael Richards leaving BBSI and retiring. But man, he has just been a staple in that business for forever. And we're going to go to that retirement party on Friday. So we thank our sponsors. We're excited for today's show. We've got Caleb Dimmick. He's the Senior Vice President of Chief Banking Officer. That's his official title, I guess, that they've moved to on his LinkedIn. It still says that he's the chief or the Senior Vice President, but he has some big titles. And we're going to be talking all about what Bank of Idaho has done. They've got some expansion going on, and these guys have been on top of it all during COVID. And then to see this expansion, we're going to talk all about Mr. Newgard and the things that he's been doing. And Caleb is kind of running the show over here on this side of the state, and we're excited to have. And he's got this new little side business. I've watched it on Facebook. It's been very interesting, and we're going to talk about some poop.
There we go.
Some poop. With Caleb Dimmick. So we are excited about to talk some poop at the end of the show. We are not going to say that four-letter word today, are we?
All right. Well, you've already said it. Oh, you mean the other one?
Yeah, the other one.
All right.
So we're going to watch just a quick 30-second video here about Bank of Idaho, and then we'll welcome Caleb onto the set.
Our commutes have changed. Our offices have changed. Our schools have changed. Our lives have changed. Even the way we bank has changed. Yet, even though everything has changed, nothing has changed. Bank of Idaho is still committed to you, your business, and our community. And Bank of Idaho is still the bank with a heart.
Well, great.
And we're back. That's
back.
quick. We're not used to 30-second videos. We got to do some quick transitions here in 30 seconds.
Well, Caleb, how long have you been with the Bank of Idaho, and what could you say about kind of the core of what the Bank of Idaho is all about?
Yeah, I've been with the bank about 7 years now.
Okay.
Was at Wells Fargo prior, and then DL Evans prior to that. It's been a quick 7 years, I can say that. There's been a lot going on, and it seems like when you're having fun, time's flying by, and that's the way it's been at the bank. There's always something new, and it seems like big that we're working on for being just a small bank.
Yeah.
I would say kind of at the core it's in our logo. There's a heart in our logo.
Yeah.
And that heart, that's a symbol I think that's been maybe a little overutilized in media, but we really take that seriously.
It fits.
It does. We try to make it fit anyway. Hopefully it does. We spend a lot of time talking about how our decisions affect first our employees, then our customers, our shareholders, our communities that we serve in. So we really try to make anything from hiring decisions and what type of people work at the bank to the type of strategic decisions and where we decide to go and what we decide to offer, all have to fit within the kind of that framework of what does it mean to have a heart in our logo? What does it mean to be the bank with a heart?
Yeah.
So I would say that's at our core, and I'm glad that it is. It makes it a great place to work. A huge part of the reason why I'm still at the bank after 7 years. You could say for a banker, that's a long time. Bankers,
There is some transition.
we change jobs like we change clothes sometimes.
Yeah, really.
But no, this is a place that I found that I can see myself retiring from, and being there long term, as long as they'll have me. So it's been a good decision. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Very good. Well, we love to promote regional type banks, and because that's, to me, that's where the business really should be done. And so we love the regional type banks. But you've done some expansion recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's still in the works. So banking is one of the rare industries where you negotiate a deal, you decide on a price, you agree to that price and exchange the money, and then you have to wait 90 days for that transaction to consummate.
Does it really?
So it's not happening until around the beginning of August, when we actually take on 5 additional branches in East Washington that we purchased from a bank called Home Street Bank. They're out of Seattle. It happened to be the similar footprint and basically the same as the bank that Jeff Newgard sold before he came to Idaho. So it's been a really cool experience to see him go back to kind of his roots and kind of his stomping grounds. A lot of the people know him. A lot of the folks are excited to be able to work with him again, which is a good thing. The community seems to be responding well to this move, and we're very busy behind the scenes trying to make it come together and make it work. Conversion and all the accounts and all those things, it's a lot of legwork that
a lot of back end work.
No one sees that, but it's a lot of work.
So the Bank of Idaho in Eastern Washington.
That's right.
You're going to continue. It's going to be actually named Bank of Idaho.
You know, that was a big discussion. We talked about what it would be like to maybe change a name and do a doing business as. And I think this is useful to business owners as well. As we were thinking, what impact would that have on the local community? What would they think about an Idaho bank coming into their territory? And, Jeff, he said it best. He said, we just need to be straight up with people. Because if we change our name, they're still going to find out that we're Bank of Idaho. They're just going to have to go through a series of questions to come to that conclusion. And we agreed. We all went forward, and the reception has been positive, partly because the culture of Eastern Washington is similar to that of Idaho. We have a lot in common with those folks. And so we feel like we have a lot of momentum going into that market.
Well, I've got to say, you have one of the most dynamic CEOs, and I have to say he's a little bit different than a lot of the other banks. He's out there in front of people on every ad, and I think that it's amazing because of how dynamic the guy is. That he recently moved over to the other side of the state.
He did, yes. And yes, I agree. Jeff is pretty singular, pretty unique. Even within our industry, he stands out in a lot of good ways. His energy is pretty contagious. He builds a really good team.
Yep.
We have people, and that sounds self-serving, but the folks that I work with are high caliber, good people, and they're down to earth. And he's handpicked his team, and he does a great job at that. But yes, within his industry, he's young, for one, as far as bank CEOs go. He was CEO when he was 32 years old.
Wow.
When he managed his first bank in Washington. So he got an early start. He's got a lot of experience. He's kind of very much hitting his stride now. And he takes a lot of time to understand the industry from a lot of different perspectives. One example is he went out and got work to receive a designation in information technology and cybersecurity. And it's one that is recognized from people in that industry. That a lot of times it's folks that they finish their degree, they get a job, and then they go and train to get this designation. So he's a CEO of a bank taking a class alongside a lot of IT professionals.
Wow.
It was really unique.
Yeah.
But it's given him a lot of very unique experience that's got him a lot of recognition. He serves on a committee for the in DC on a national level, dealing with cybersecurity and banking because of this designation. So he's done a good job of setting himself apart within his own industry.
Yeah.
I think it's great advertising and marketing to have him. He's there on every billboard, every ad, and that people understand and that they can. He is the heart of the bank, I guess you could say.
He is. He does a great job of that, and that's intentional. He wants to be the face of the bank, and we want him to be the face of the bank. We support his efforts to be out in the market. Moving to Boise is a great example of that. He felt he had close ties to East Idaho, had a lot of friends here, and continues those friendships. As he decided to move, a lot of what was driving that decision was he needed to be closer to the growth center of the bank. As we moved there 3 years ago, Boise has been an awesome experience for the bank. It's been a very large point of growth, and he wanted to have a serious presence there and show the team that we were supportive of the new branches over there. And what better way than just to move your family and be right in the middle of it? And he is right now. His office, while we're waiting for some construction, is on the bottom level of the main floor in our downtown branch. And so he's right there with the employees of the bank, accessible and open door for them. So it's been a really good thing from a morale standpoint as well.
Yeah. Well, no, that's and his approach to this acquisition, is that considered in the banking world as kind of aggressive, or where does that kind of stand in that industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really runs the gamut. Banking is well known, I think, for acquisitions. You're always hearing about banks gobbling up another bank, but there are other banks that really keep an even keel, and they don't do a lot of other than maybe organic expansion.
Right.
They don't look to acquire. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and it does take a lot of negotiation. I would just say Jeff in general is maybe a little bit more on the progressive, aggressive side.
Mm-hmm.
But as a banker himself, he's very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
His decisions are calculated. We take a lot of time in committee, executive committees, to talk over the financial implications of things, what it would do from a strategic nature. Are we going to tip our people over by chasing too many opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
We recognize those risks, and he's always looking over the bow for the next opportunity, but also pays attention to his folks to make sure that we can take on the opportunities as they come.
And what impacts have you seen in the bank itself with, so we have this right now in the economy, this inflation that's gone up. To help try to slow that, the federal government comes and says, hey, let's raise interest rates. So what are we seeing as results? Because I do believe in some regulation. I do think government messes up a lot of things at the same time, but
Sure.
they have method to their madness. But maybe kind of speak to that.
Sure.
In terms of what has happened, what this interest rate is going to potentially do to things.
Yeah, I love that question, and it's one that I think is on everyone's mind. So it's really pertinent, right? Our customers and us, we talk a lot about what's coming and what to expect. We were just talking this morning as a committee in the bank to, what are we thinking about the future, and what do we do in the meantime? Really, we're very regulated. Banks are heavily regulated by the government, and so we have to spend a lot of time making sure that our decisions are in the best interest of shareholders, and knowing that they're going to be scrutinized by government regulatory agencies. So we just tend to be conservative. And a lot of times when interest rates go up, banks in general typically can make more money because our loan rates can go up. We have to charge, pay more for deposits, which we expect to do. But we really, I think, subscribe to kind of a thought process of keeping an even course. We don't try to overlend when times are really good, and times have been great.
Mm-hmm.
And we've grown a lot. We've made a lot of loans, but our loans are based on solid credit principles. And if we had more time, we'd go into the 5 C's of credit, which maybe a lot of your viewers are familiar with.
Which that's a great training topic.
There we go.
Yeah, that would be.
So
That's really relevant
Yeah.
to a business owner. They want to know what those are.
Yeah.
So we make good, sound credit decisions, and we've grown a lot. But when times get tough and everyone feels like things are going to tighten up for one reason or another, we're intent on continuing to provide lending and to be there for the small business owner in our communities. We don't have discussions about what loans we're going to stop doing altogether, or what buckets of pools of loans are we going to exit the market in. We're talking about how we can continue to safely provide lending and banking services to our customers, regardless of the economy. And this is again Jeff's leadership. He doesn't spend time trying to anticipate or to read the tea leaves.
Yeah.
We know that our guess is as good as anyone else's. But what we want to focus on is our own business that we know best, and how do we continue to do that business regardless of what's floating around and flying around us and the economy.
So how is this gonna, let's talk about, we have interest rates going up and we have gas prices going up. A lot of these things, people say that we're heading into, do you see that this could say recession is going to be effective as much as it was back in 2008, 2009?
Yeah, great question. I think about these things myself.
Yeah.
So this is where it comes down to personal opinion. I don't speak on behalf of the bank here, because I wouldn't say that the bank has a real formal stance on this topic. Is there going to be a recession? I think there very well could be. And the funny thing about recessions is, you have one when you've already been through it.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of measured in arrears, but just with the increase in the interest rates, that's done on purpose to slow down this economic engine that we've been riding. I would say that the increase in interest rates and the kind of uncertainty that happens worldwide, that's happening worldwide, can create a lot of wait and see. What I'm seeing with a lot of our business owners is they're taking a bit of a wait and see approach, where there might have been a project that they wanted to participate in, and they're saying, we're gonna hold off for 6 months, and we're gonna just wait and see what's going to happen. I can see that having a ripple effect across the economy. Will it be the same magnitude as what happened during the Great Recession?
I don't think so, because of the housing. I think the housing is a little bit more stable than it was then. We saw a massive crash in the housing industry, but I don't think that we're going to see that until the interest rates get up extremely higher. But
the Fed is set to increase rates potentially another 1%, which that's significant. That could have a definite more of an impact than it already has on housing. The difference here between 15 years ago or so is that we are not staring at huge amounts of inventory. It doesn't feel overbuilt in most any of our markets, especially here. There's a lot of interest in Idaho because of our used to be cost of living, right? And just the relative safety and just the opportunity we have to do business in this state is pretty positive. That doesn't necessarily need to go away even during a correction. So we have some insulation from that, I believe. But the lack of just being so far over our skis like we were in 2007, I think is going to point us in another direction. Are we still going to correct? Sure. Why not? I think that's healthy, but I don't think it needs to be a crash. The other thing is we have, unless there's something that we just aren't aware of, like that happened with the underlying just credit rating issues on a lot of those mortgages back during that time, that really kind of surprised a lot of us. I don't see that being as much of a correction, but I'm no economist, so just my opinion.
So back then, though, if we look back, I don't think we're going to see, and again, tea leaves, right, as you mentioned, but I don't. There were banks that failed, probably at a higher rate than ever in history. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Well, besides the depression, I think.
The depression,
the crash.
But
I guess post FDIC.
Probably, our
right?
lifetime, right? But why did they fail? And why do banks like Bank of Idaho, obviously Jeff and yourself and that group of people, I think you have sound philosophies, but
technology, I bet you, has a lot to do with that too.
That's a great, good question.
Why do they fail, and why don't you fail?
That's great, and that'll test my knowledge a little bit as far as why they fail. There are a lot of reasons that banks can fail, but primarily it comes down to, again, being highly regulated. Banks are required to maintain a certain level of capital. So capital meaning equity. For a business owner, it would be not to have more debt than you have assets. We have assets and liabilities just intrinsically built into the bank. As loans are considered assets, deposits are actually considered liabilities. So to some degree,
you own that because they owe.
Because they can pull that money out and you owe money on it.
That's right. We owe that interest back. So
Yeah.
we have to maintain levels of capital that the government closely monitors. If we let that capital get too thin, A lot of times a bank will fail not because it just can't do business anymore, but the government will step in and say, you are undercapitalized, you are unsafe, a risk to your depositors and your shareholders. So we're basically saying you don't do business anymore. And that happened during tight times and corrective times, a lot of times because the value of those assets, so the collateral that we have on a loan, we have to keep within certain thresholds. Well, if the real estate, for example, let's use that as an example, because that was a big player, right, during that time. Yeah. If your real estate that you have appraised is worth $1 million, and then everything crashes down, and suddenly that real estate is worth $100,000. Wow. That underlying loan that you are using to secure that collateral you're using to secure that loan no longer is secured by that collateral. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so suddenly you have a loan that is in the government's eyes and in any business owner's eyes deficient. You have to correct that deficiency. The way that that's done a lot of times is banks have to deplete their own capital to make that make sense. And that strains that equity, right, of that bank. Right. And again, if they fall beneath that threshold, that puts them at risk for staying in business. Yeah. That's a simplistic explanation. If I was a CFO, it would be so much more pretty. But I'm not that guy. So.
But you guys have stayed out of that. And I think a lot of banks in Idaho kind of, and I don't know if it's regional, if we look at certain areas that maybe the state itself aren't fiscally responsible at times, and if that plays into it. But why is it that the Bank of Idaho then weathered that storm, and here we are about 15 years later doing these continuing to grow and doing acquisitions?
Yes, and I didn't answer that part of your question. Thank you for reminding me. It really goes down to probably the 5 C's of credit, because the loans on our books represent the largest asset of the bank, the kind of the machine that generates a lot of the money and can be a lot of the risk as well. As long as we're making core, good, solid, fundamental decisions on that credit side, then in times when things do get hard, we are more apt to be able to work through those times with those borrowers, keep those loans healthy and not from tipping over, and keeping everyone safe. And then that doesn't strain our balance sheet like it would if we were making really risky decisions. Right. So the bank has buckets of types of loans that we do. We make sure that we don't overlend into any one bucket. You'll see, like, for example, hospitality, hotels. People will come in and a lot of folks that run hotels, they want to find financing for those. And they'll have to go to a lot of different banks sometimes to find that, because banks don't do a lot of hotel lending. Right. All in and of itself, because we only have so much room that we're willing to dip our toe into one type of industry category. And those loans usually to hotels are great big.
Yeah, they're big loans. Yeah.
And so we limit how much we do, or how much we're willing to lend to any particular borrower. Yeah. That's one example of how a bank helps keep its loan portfolio fairly clean and safe. Now, does that say that we only do loans to folks that don't need the money? That's kind of the word on the street a lot of times, is banks won't loan to you if you need it. Yeah. And that's, to some degree, that has some truth, because if a bank was to do the loans that the person really need, but they really didn't qualify for, maybe because they didn't make enough money, or maybe because their credit score was too low, if we did too many of those types of loans, the statistics show that when times get tough, those are the first to really suffer, are those types of deals. And so we employ things like the SBA, which you guys talk a lot about. Yeah. We love the SBA. We have a strong SBA department where the government will provide a guarantee to us if we do the loan. Yeah. We'll do the loan, and if times do get tough, the SBA can step in and help make us whole, so that we're not putting our entire bank at risk to help the person start their own business. Yeah. So I very much am an advocate for startup and these small business owners that want to get something off the ground. And later we'll talk a little about something I've got my ear closer to that ground. But that's the reason is we need to keep the bank safe, but we still need to be a good steward in our communities and help those business owners.
Very good. Well, I can't say enough about the work that Bank of Idaho does here in Eastern Idaho. just here in eastern Idaho, we have this graphic, but when you talk about a bank that is just willing to support the community, this is a picture of a check of Jeff giving a check to College of Eastern Idaho. You put that up, Tyson? There you go. That's
stone projects. So we get involved on boards and other community initiatives. And so along with the check comes a lot of hands-on time and donation. So
they say the lost sound.
Yeah, I put it back.
You did?
Okay.
Oh,
so,
good.
Sorry about that.
So
Very
you said
good.
a lot of really cool, interesting stuff that you didn't just hear about.
Yeah.
But so you've been at the bank for 7 years. You've been in banking longer than that, but now you've got this side hustle. If we're transitioning into the side hustle,
talk
I
about
love
this.
people with side hustle. I
Sure.
got a side hustle.
Everybody should have a side
Everyone should have a side hustle.
Yeah.
So tell us about your side hustle and how you got it going, what it is, how you got it going, and why you're doing it.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity
Yeah.
to. It's kind of fun to talk about because it's a side hustle that I never anticipated having.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would go out and say, hey, I'm going to create some child's game and name it It's Not Poop. But the process has been really fun. It all started on a pickup ride. I was driving back from Island Park with my son. He was 10 at the time. This was just last year. And it was boring. It was just kind of a long drive. And it was winter. We had been cross-country skiing and kind of tired. And I thought, how do I keep this kid entertained? And, didn't have a smartphone or anything. Didn't want to give him one. And thought, okay, well, I'm gonna have him guess what I'm thinking. So I said, Kai, I'm gonna tell you, give you a hint, and I want you to guess what this object is, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. But I'll give you one hint to start off the game. The first hint is that it's not poop, and he just starts laughing, because 10-year-olds and poop, it just makes him laugh.
You're gonna laugh just by saying that alone, right?
It's a safe bet.
Yeah.
So I started to describe a stick. I started to say, well, it's long and brown.
Yeah.
And of course he laughs. Oh, whatever, Dad. And I said, well, it could be different shapes and sizes, and it can be soft or it can be kind of hard, and it's sticky. And so he laughs and he's like, Dad, it's totally poop. I know it is. And I said, no, son, it's a stick.
Yeah.
And so then it something clicked, okay, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I came up with another item and we did this the whole way home. Well, I got about 15 minutes from home and I start saying, I think we could make this into a game. I think we could create something here. Well, and then from there it started. And what motivated me is my son said to me as we were finishing our car trip, he says, Dad, is this just going to be another one of our ideas, or are we going to do something about this?
Yeah.
And that was the motivation.
The closer right there.
So now it was, I have to prove this kid
Yeah.
to this kid that we can
do it.
finish something that we
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
And then it was gathering around the family table. All of us had a role. My daughter drew some art up
Yeah.
about the box, and so we created it. I mean, I started chatting with people in China, trying to figure out. We had a graphic designer from Russia, so it was kind of this international experience too, where you kind of see how different people kind of come together to kind of help create this. And now we just received 5,000 games from China a few weeks ago.
5,000 games.
They're in our basement.
Yeah.
It's very organic.
Yeah.
I just sent my first
Literally.
shipment. Yeah, literally. No pun intended, right?
Exactly.
But we sent our first shipment off to Amazon. That's been an interesting process. So they're going to be doing a lot of our selling. We have a website that we've put together.
Go check it out. It's just as it's named. It's not poop.com.
That's right. That's right. So thank you.
Yes.
And it's been a night and weekends thing. So side hustle for sure.
Yeah.
Because work is very busy. Not a lot of time, but this is something we can come at around the dinner table as a family in the evenings and figure out. So.
Wow.
Very
We
cool.
wish you, there's the graphic of it, and it is going like hotcakes. So they 5,000 of the games.
Yeah.
I actually brought one for you.
Did
I
you?
brought a copy.
Awesome.
So
So
I'll
we're going to
deliver.
give that
We're gonna
away
give it
at
away.
the end of the show.
Yeah, where's it
So
at?
yeah, let's
It's right back here. You tell me how you want me to do that.
We will get that, but we're gonna show just because I watched this video and I thought this is a great example of being an entrepreneur here in Eastern Idaho. So we're gonna watch a 2-minute video here dealing with It's Not Poop and what they stand for. It's we'll have a little fun, then we're gonna go in transition into some training. So let's watch that. We'll come back.
Hey, how you doing? If you're a business owner that wants to take your business to the next level in 2013, or if you're a wannabe or a startup entrepreneur that's just getting going and wants to hit the ground running, I got one tip that's probably going to make life a lot easier for you in today's economy. And that is to completely forget about B2B or B2C and instead focus on P2P. What the bloody hell is P2P? Well, I'll tell you. Don't go away.
All right. We'll get it.
Yeah, we.
That's
I
our-
was not
not
very descriptive. That is not.
That's
It's not poop.
not the
That is
right-
the ending video.
Okay.
We're gonna
You
get
a
that.
little forecast of what's happening.
That's right.
But
So
but while Tyson's yanking that up here, let's check that out. It's not poop, right?
Yeah.
And so this will end up paying for kids' college educations, right? So,
You know, that's
or travel or
it's
something. right?
cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, this has not been a,
Side hustle.
if you have
is-
5,000 in your basement, I
this
guarantee
was
that's
never
cost you
a,
lot.
a venture to make us a lot of money. And we told our kids this. We said, you know, kids, even if it doesn't make us $1 of revenue, this has been worth it just to show, from a parent standpoint, what better opportunity to show your kids to just chase a dream, right?
Yeah.
To do something and not give up. There's been a lot of times where I'm like, man, this is hard, and I don't really want to do this anymore. But I'm glad that we kind of stuck with it. I think it's been good for our kids, and it's been good for me as a banker to really feel empathy for a business owner.
Yeah.
I feel, not to a small degree, because this is a small side hustle, but that feeling of kind of being alone, right? Where it's like, I got to make a decision and I'm the one that has to live with it, and no one is going to be around to really take it on with me. And I know business owners have expressed that to me before, where it's them against the world sometimes.
Yeah.
And so for that, I really appreciate
Great
being able to
example of that.
relate.
So that's great. We can be able to pull up that video. Do you think? Okay.
No.
Yeah, here's what I do. I challenge everybody watching the show to go to It's Not Poop on the main page
There you go.
and watch that 2
Yeah.
minute 32-second video. Absolutely a great video on showing how it came about and what they're doing with It's Not Poop. I think it's an ultimate.
One more O there.
One more
not
poop.
pop
Yeah, let's not
either.
do pop.
Might
So
still find
It's
it.
Not Poop. P-O.
There we
There
go.
we are.
There we
So-
go.
Yeah, look at us.
So check it out there. Good deal. Well, Caleb, is there anything else that you wanted to talk to us about the Bank of Idaho, It's Not Poop, or anything else?
You know, I would say, just as business owners probably watch this, I have a passion for just helping those folks feel supported. Not necessarily just a plug for the bank, but just in general, you need to have a good banker. Business owners need to have someone that they can come and tell their dreams and their aspirations and their plans, and then that have a voice on the other end of that, be supportive and be creative and help them come up with ways that they can accomplish what they're out to do. And banks have a lot of resources, and we're here for them. So get yourself a banker. If it's Bank of Idaho, I think you'd have a good experience, but there are good banks in town.
Yeah.
And so get out there and find yourself another seat at your decision-making table.
Yeah, it's we have 5 people that people need to have in their business team: bankers, accountants, insurance agents, and lawyers, and then human resources. But that is absolutely true. Get a relationship with your bank. And Bank of Idaho is a bank that we love to refer to because they are solid in the business community. There's other people, I'd say maybe credit unions, that are trying to dabble in that, but go to a regional bank. Bank of Idaho is a great place to take your business banking to. So thank you very much. We're going to transition right in. We got to hear your quote first. Tell us about this quote that you have.
Yeah, so it's from the book Art of War. Great results can be achieved with small forces. That's translated from Mandarin, I believe. But the idea is, and we talk a lot about this at the bank, is that we have key activities that we do every day. And I don't manage to big numbers. I focus a lot on what they're doing daily. And it's basically, if they can focus on doing those key things, the numbers will follow. They'll hit their objective. They'll get where they need to be. The bank will reach its goals. But it starts with those key small things that we're doing on a daily basis.
Great. No, I love that quote. That's great.
Very good. Sun Zhao, is that how you say the name?
Sun Zhu, yeah.
Sun Zhu. So very good. Well, let's. We appreciate that ending there. Let's transition right into the quote. We're a little over time today, but hope you're enjoying the show. But we have a training that this was kind of something fun and new that we came up with. Creating a tribe in business. And I know that this, whether Jeff thinks of it this way or not, it is one of his big focuses. Is I got it. Coming to the right paper.
There we go.
Too many papers here.
Yeah.
So, creating a tribe in business, and Seth Godin, we all know that he's a big author and speaker. He says, what is a tribe in your business? A group of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, and connected to an idea. And almost every business out there, whether you're a service or a retail, if you have a product or a service, you need to create a tribe of people that follow you and that they're dedicated to you and your business.
Yeah, boy, I agree. And that, someone like Jeff or you, Caleb, that people are. It's not that it's all about being charismatic, but it's about sound leadership, and it gives the tribe that sense of, hey, we can actually go do this. Versus, you pointed out, sometimes that solopreneur who has a great idea is up against it just because they don't even have a tribe yet. They're more at the ideas phase of things.
Agreed.
Yep, it goes on and says, and this is Wikipedia's definition: an unofficial community or organization of people who share a common interest and usually who are loosely affiliated with each other through social media or other internet mechanisms. And this has just become so relevant in the last few years. Tribe requirements: mutual connections, leader, and an idea. They got to have a purpose behind that they're going behind. Some of the benefits of starting a tribe: a captive market, someone that you can turn to at any time to get business from. You have an influence in the market, you have access to opportunities, and a new circle of friends. And with how expanding how encompassing the internet is, you can have people in your tribe that are in the whole different part of the world.
Yep. Now
for your business. But how do you create a tribe? You can do it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, podcasts. Find some brand ambassadors. Engage often and stay relevant. Think outside the box and network. And this is just something that I think that it's a great principle for businesses to just focus on, that they need to create these followers in their business. And the more they do, the more successful they will be.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Hallelujah. Can I have an amen?
I don't even have to say anything.
Very good. And I think that as we've talked about through the show, that you guys have created that tribe with Jeff being the leader of everything.
I agree. Yeah, it very much feels that way. Mutual connection. We have that common leader, and we all are pursuing this idea that we've got something special that we want to share. Yeah. So it does create a lot of support. And you know, I'm thinking about the solopreneur, like you said, the person that just doesn't have anyone. Yeah. You always do. You always have someone, but that person may not be the type of business advisor that you expect. I recently went and met with a friend who happens to own an internet website and development company. And I wasn't needing his services. I already have a website, but I was needing advice on what to focus on, where to focus my efforts, my limited time. And he gave me exactly what I needed to hear. And it wasn't right up his alley of expertise, but he knew enough about where I was at as a solopreneur to point me in the right direction. And so I think we have more tribe access than we think, especially with how connected we are.
Yeah, and the internet's definitely helped with that. So.
Exactly.
Caleb Dimmick, awesome Senior Vice President, Chief Banking Officer of Bank of Idaho. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Next week, we have Kevin Green.
Yeah. We got cool stuff happening that he's going to talk about, right?
Idaho Falls Chuckers, and also with he's going to be leading the new hockey team coming to town.
Who are they? Cutthroats, or who are they?
Remember what the name of them is?
We'll know next week. We're going to find out.
We will know for next week. So, but we're going to give away this game of It's Not Poop. So, in the segment dealing with Caleb. He was driving home from somewhere with his son, and if you can text me, put my phone up there. If you can text me what area of Idaho he was driving home from with his 10-year-old son, so his name Kai, Kai, and came up with this idea of this game, we're gonna give you a copy of the It's Not Poop. And we got away without saying the 4-letter S word in this whole thing.
I was expecting you to do it.
Wait a minute. You're the dropper of 4-letter words. So yes, we'll give that away. Text me if you can tell us the name of that town, and you'll get your own copy of It's Not Poop.
Very good.
So
exciting.
Thanks everybody for checking in with Talkin' Business, and we will see everybody next week. Give us a thumbs up. That's how we end every show. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, how you doing? If you're a business owner that wants to take your business to the next level in 2013, or if you're a wannabe or a startup entrepreneur that's just getting going and wants to hit the ground running, I got one tip that's probably going to make life a lot easier for you in today's economy. And that is to completely forget about B2B or B2C and instead focus on P2P. What the bloody hell is P2P? Well, I'll tell you. Don't go away. Hi, it's Chris here from chrisducker.com, and thank you very much for tuning in to check out this very quick video. In the last decade, I've started and built 4 completely separate businesses. That's why I have no hair, but I'm about to embark on my 5th as well. And I can tell you, there's a lot of things that I've learned in that last 10 years, but there is one thing that I've seen above and beyond everything else, and that is the times change. The changes that have taken place in the last decade have been unbelievable. We're now in a much more social, a much more people-driven market. And that's where my intro comes from in regards to that P2P. If you really want to build a business in this economy, you need to focus on that people-to-people connection. I believe that we're going right the way back to the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, where you were more likely to spend more money on a loaf of bread from Bob the baker, a guy that you knew, than you would do to walk another couple of blocks and get that loaf of bread at a large supermarket chain at 30% of the cost. Why do we buy from Bob? Well, because we know Bob. We know his family. We know what he's all about. We've got a history with him. We've got that communication together, that relationship. And that's something that as new age entrepreneurs, we need to focus on when it comes to building our businesses. And that is creating relationships with our prospective customers, creating a tribe of followers, and fundamentally building a platform for ourselves. So I want you in 2013 to absolutely invest in your own platform. Invest in the business of you. If you do that, I know for a fact that you'll have more opportunity, you'll make more money, and you'll be a much, much more successful entrepreneur in this year and every year going forward. Now, if you like this tip, I'd love for you to go over to chrisducker.com and check out my 7-day new business bootcamp, which has got tons of tips just like this to be able to teach you how to catapult your business into the 21st century. You just go to chrisducker.com and everything will be revealed. Oh, by the way, it is completely free for you to get involved. If you like this video, please go ahead and share it on Facebook and Twitter and Google and all those other fun online places. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, which I do update regularly. Until next time, take good care, stay sexy, work hard, and invest in the business of you. I'll see you in the next video.